Hello and welcome to the Community Shares of Illinois interview sessions, the podcast where we give our members a chance to talk about their wonderful organizations and the meaningful work that they're doing. With us today, we have Mackenzie Popravak from South Suburban Housing Center. How are you today, Mackenzie?
I'm doing really good. Perfect pronunciation. It's good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, and we'll get started.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, just to start us off, how long have you been with South Suburban?
I've been with South Suburban Housing Center for about 3.5 years. I was hired in January of 2020, coming from the event space, first nonprofit I ever worked at. Just before the pandemic. I was originally hired as the Fair Housing Intake and Outreach Specialist. So I had a lot of client interaction as well as, client interaction on the intake of things and then also going out into the community. But I transitioned to communication and outreach solely about a year ago due to the increased need for doing that.
All right, great. Well, it's good to have you here, and I'm glad to hear you've had quite an experience.
For sure. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Yeah.
Yeah. And just in case any of our listeners, viewers aren't familiar, do you maybe want to tell us a little bit about the work that South Suburban Housing Center does?
Yeah. So, South Suburban Housing Center is a nonprofit, private, regional fair housing enforcement agency and HUD approved housing counseling agency. Our office is in Homewood. We were actually founded in 1975 by several chapters of the League of Women Voters to monitor and address discriminatory housing practices that were happening in Chicago South suburbs at the time. And from then on, we have sought to promote and foster long-term diversity in our service area. We work to eliminate all forms of housing discrimination and exploitation in the housing market. Our primary service area is South Metropolitan Chicago, but basically that's South Cook County, Will County, Kankakee County, Lake County, Indiana. We've also been called to serve in underserved areas of Illinois because a lot of the social service agencies are kind of clustered in the Chicagoland area. So we have done work in Grundy and Iroquois counties and Springfield and Peoria. It just really depends on what kind of assistance is available at the time. If people aren't sure, they can always call us. So as a fair housing enforcement agency, we mainly provide complaint intake for victims of housing discrimination. And we, document their story, try to investigate it to see if we can find any patterns of housing discrimination with that housing provider to provide proof for that person's claims. We can connect them with other agencies that can provide assistance. We also provide advocacy at the policy level and outreach. Lots of outreach events we've been doing since 2020, mainly on Zoom, but we're starting to get back into the community as well in person. And then we're also a HUD approved housing counseling agency. So that means that we are certified to provide mortgage distress counseling, as well as homebuyer education and one-on-one counseling for those that are looking to achieve the dream of homeownership. So we wear a lot of different hats, pretty much everything housing related. We can either assist with or we can refer.
Great. I mean, that's incredible how much of a widespread area you serve. Even if it's just from time to time, that's amazing.
It's a lot of people.
So one kind of icebreaker question I'd like to ask is, do you have like a favorite part of the work that you do there at South Suburban? Or?
Oh, well, I'm an English major, so when I graduated, they were like, you're either going to work in a nonprofit or you're going to become an attorney. So I really like working with the legal side of things at our agency, but I really like getting out into the community and connecting with other people and other organizations and municipalities to try and just educate as many people as possible on fair housing law. I feel like it's an under-discussed part of civil rights in this country in general, and it's so integral and it affects everything else that's a part of the conversation already. So I interact with both the fair housing team and the housing counseling team. I'm no longer strictly fair housing anymore. I get out in the community and educate in all of the ways that our agency helps to strengthen the South Suburban communities, all the programs and services, as well as connecting other organizations to the people that need it, depending on what they need, like legal aid, tenants' rights, disability advocacy. Housing's so intersectional with other issues that a person might be struggling with. So I really like, making sure our referral system is really strong to provide that person as much help as possible.
Great. And I must say, English major, yeah, I'm one
Yeah,
too.
we're here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, English majors unite. We're
yeah.
important too.
And so next, I'll ask you: is there anything new that you wanted to talk about that's going on with South Suburban Housing Center?
Sure. I'm going to take a second to talk about a couple of the programs that we're assisting with. So, since the pandemic started and all of this rental and mortgage assistance came out through the state of Illinois and Cook County and Chicago and Will County, our agency has been on the ground assisting people with applying. The traditional rental assistance at this point there's no current programs as of this recording. We are working with clients that are facing eviction because of unpaid rent, because there are programs through the court system. So if anyone's listening and they are facing an eviction because of unpaid rent, that program can, depending on how much you've received from other programs, there's so many other factors, but you can usually go to illinoishousinghhelp.org to find the court-based rental assistance. That's the term that it's called. We're assisting people with applying for that. If you're in Cook County, you would go apply through Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt. If you are in the rest of Illinois or in the city of Chicago, you would apply through the Illinois Housing Development Authority. But you can find everything at illinoishousinghhelp.org. Another thing that we're offering right now is assistance with people that are applying for the Illinois Homeowners Assistance Fund. That is a program through the state that's covering up to $60,000 in delinquent mortgage payments, property taxes, delinquent lot rents, condo fees, homeowner association fees, other fees that are, tied to being a homeowner. And you can find all of that information at illinoishousinghhelp.org as well. Lastly, after our agency was a part of a federal fair housing complaint that finally settled with Fannie Mae, it was a $53 million settlement with the National Fair Housing Alliance and several other agencies. And a part of the community relief funds were used to relaunch our Inclusive Communities Fund Down Payment Assistance Program. It relaunched in, I believe, mid-February and is still going strong. It is meant to assist in revitalizing communities that were impacted by the foreclosure crisis in 2008 and promote diverse, inclusive recovery in those areas. So this program has been specifically designed to promote homeownership and neighborhood stabilization in recovering communities of color. It offers up to $15,000 in down payment assistance. It's provided as a grant that is forgiven as long as the person stays there for 5 years. It's not necessarily just for first-time home buyers. You just can't own another home at the time of closing. And if anyone's interested in that program or anything I've talked about today, they can go to southsuburbanhousingcenter.org, where every program and service is there. And if it's not there, let us know, because I manage the website. So that means I need to update it. But everything should be on the website, including our events too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For all of that information, please do visit them, southsuburbanhousingcenter.org. Lots of great information there. Very helpful. Now, this is the shameless part where I promote Community Shares of Illinois. So I did want to ask, do you have a favorite part about being a member with us, or anything
Yeah.
that's really helpful?
Yeah, so I was actually talking to our executive director, and we used to do a lot of outreach events at different employers and state employers throughout the Chicagoland area to let them know about our program and our services. We haven't done that as much since the pandemic, but I think in general, being a member of Community Shares allows us to better inform the public of our mission and our programs and services, and that we exist. We're a small nonprofit with a large service area, so the more that we can get out into the community and let them know that we're here, and that they can support our work through donations through their workplace, or they can attend our workshop, share our stuff on social media, shameless plug, at SS Housing Center everywhere. It's just good to have a community of other nonprofits, and there's so many good benefits to being a member.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, we're happy to help with that outreach.
Yeah.
We have a lot of important stuff that you're working on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So then, to kind of close things out, I'll give you a chance. Is there anything you wanted to tell people about as far as how donations can help, or volunteering, or any kind of information on how to best help out South Suburban Housing Center?
Glad you asked. So obviously we love donations. We are funded through HUD and CDBG and some other grants, but all of those grants do require us to match some of our donations. So having strength it from the community in terms of dollars, or you can add us as your Amazon Smile donated charity. You can do that too. But one big way that people can support our work and make a more equitable housing market in general would be to volunteer as a fair housing tester. This is a very crucial part of our agency's ability to monitor housing markets and support victims of housing discrimination and any complaints that they file. Essentially, testers are trained to pose as home seekers, kind of like a secret diner, visit or contact housing providers and write detailed reports of their experience. And this is a paid volunteer opportunity for individuals that are invested in these larger equity conversations that we were talking about earlier. We're looking for allies to support. We pay a stipend per test, and we're super flexible with scheduling. We have a lot of teachers that do it during the summer or on break in the teacher's room. A lot of different individuals. We're looking for all people too, which is really important. Fair housing is more than just race. There's so many other protected classes that are a part of that. Voucher holders now in the state of Illinois, as of January 1st of 2023, it's illegal to deny someone a rental because they have a housing choice voucher or they pay their rent through SSI, SSDI. So in order to enforce that, we need testers to go out and do that, especially if you're a voucher holder or if you're not. We're looking for seniors, persons with disabilities, persons that utilize wheelchairs to help us make sure that all housing that's being built is accessible and is up to standard for design and construction. Families with children, members of the Latinx community, any advocates out there that are looking for that opportunity, they can find information on our website, or they can email Caitlin at southsuburban.net.
Right, great. Yeah, that's a lot of great opportunities you can help out with. So I want to strongly encourage anybody listening or viewing, go check out South Suburban Housing Center. You can go to their website, southsuburbanhousingcenter.org, or you can also go to our website, communitysharesillinois.org, where we have links to them as well as to all of our member charities. But other than that, I would like to thank Mackenzie here for being with us today, giving us all of this wonderful information. And I want everybody to go ahead and check them out, South Suburban Housing Center. And otherwise, we will see you here next time on the Community Shares of Illinois member interview sessions.